Welcome back to the continuation of our 21-day trial of Matomo Cloud. In our last video we had a look at the locations report, as we can see here, and today we're moving on to the devices report. Now the devices report gives us a really good overview of devices, all the way people are visiting our website, and you would use this in a case where perhaps you are marketing towards smartphone users. Perhaps you've got an e-commerce store and you want to see how these users are accessing your site or their performance. So if we pop down to here, we can have a look at our engagement metrics, and we can see the visits and their actions and how long they're staying on the site. We can see with this particular report kind of straight away we've got an issue with our smartphone site because users are not using as many actions or staying as long as they would do with a desktop site, and the bounce rate is quite high. Given this information, you can go back to your team and say we need to optimize our experience for smartphone users because we want to try and drive up that average time website and reduce that bounce rate. And over time we can click on our evolution report and we can see visually how those changes are improving the experience for those users. So on the top left we've got the devices broken down by type, and we've got 15 types, and strangely we've got console, and the console users seem to spend a lot of time on there. That's probably because the browser on a console isn't particularly good at browsing websites. So we'll just dig a bit further and see what those users are using, and we can see they're all on PlayStation 4 by the looks of things. So that person is quite determined to use the PlayStation 4 by the looks, and that's why they've got such a long visit time, 3 hours. So there's our particular devices, and what Matomo has broken them up is depending on all these details are gathered from the user agent used on the device. Every time a visitor comes to your website, the user agent is supplied to Matomo, and then Matomo breaks all the data down into particular users' device types. We've also got brands available as well, and that's broken down, as you can probably see, by the most popular, Apple and Samsung, and device models over the right hand side here. We can drill down to the exact type of device that a user is using, and the screen user resolution as well. So this is important for when you're making your website, you know, what size screen you need to cater your content for that user to get the best result. I didn't cover it in the video prior, but we've still got the 3 buttons up at the top where we can tell Matomo whether we like or dislike this report, and if we click on the button it tells us how fresh the data is. So this data was archived 2.5 hours ago. Like all of our reports, we've got the ability to add the total row so we can see the total visits, and if we change our visualization back to a basic table, it will give us the unique visitors totals. As we just saw, we had the engagement metrics, we can see the conversion metrics as well. We can see desktop is our best converting device for sales, and smartphones isn't particularly good at all. We've got the old one on tablets. We definitely want to be able to address smartphones, as most users probably would be starting to use smartphones to view your website. With the insights as shown in the last few videos, where we can drill down to see which devices are appearing more regularly and less regularly, and we can alter the range from the previous day, week or year to match up. So obviously in the previous year we want it to be quite huge, as long as our website is successful. And we can see here our smartphones are definitely being more popular on the website, so we really need to focus on getting that website or the website design best matched for smartphones. As with the other reports, you can either view it in a bar chart or a pie chart, and of course tag cloud, where the biggest or the most used device is the largest amount of text. We can also export just the devices with our usual export formats, with and without metadata in row limits. If you want to see a few more details about this, make sure to check the first video in the series. Coming down to device brands, we've got an extra button here which is a search, so I can search within this data. So perhaps I only want to know who's using an Apple. We can see pretty straightforward. Only returns the Apple result. Here we might just want to see who's using Samsung devices. So all the Samsung devices appear, but maybe you've got a weird device which you'd really like, because we've got 93 devices here and you want to narrow it down quite quickly, just use the search box here and it'll search the data that's on your screen. And the same for screen resolution. So there's 209 different resolutions available of all sorts of varying sizes, but you're just going to want to make sure you aim for the most popular, because those will be the ones you'll be catering for the most. And again, same with all the other reports, we can choose the date range we want to actually see this data for. So for the last month, obviously the figures increase significantly because we've chosen a longer period of time to view the data. Of course, desktop is still the predominant device to use, but as we saw by the insights previously, our smartphone usage is increasing, but we need to address the issue with the bounce rate and the actions time, or the amount of actions per page. That's a quick breakdown on the devices report in Matomo. Let's move on to software.